identify names that are great, and then analyze the rest.
Are you naming also functions like donate?
Yeah, donate. All names are up for grabs.
Propose and proposal.
Oh yeah.
Delegate rather than delegate.
Proposal.
Delegate as a verb.
Do you have the galaxy? Oh, you have.
Yep.
Delegate, delegation, delegate.
Accept.
Accept, mark complete.
Approve. What does?
Contributor.
Yeah. Sadly.
Yeah, we just.
Yeah.
That's why I was switching to paper more, because I could count on my words.
Can we also, in addition to DAC, because there's like DAC/DAO, and then there's DAC the way we use it /DAC the way that other people use it.
So like, should we include the words altruistic, autonomous?
Yeah, just like to, in terms of options, maybe not that more stuff needs to be written.
Yeah, we should have been for AAC.
DAC or
Autonomous.
Like DAC versus DAO, or decentralized altruistic community versus decentralized autonomous community.
for sure. I'm definitely looking for great names as opposed to,
Right.
we're not in that section yet, but we will get there.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Mark
So
complete.
what stuff do we use right now that we love?
Propose and yeah, I mean that's first it's listing, then loving, then hating.
Contributor.
Contributor. Accept, propose, more complete. What other actions do we have? I know there's more. Approve.
Reject.
And it doesn't have to be just DApp. It can be like,
Right.
Galaxy.
Galaxy.
Yep,
So-
Galaxy is up there.
Outreach.
Outreach.
Let's talk about the word impact.
Yeah.
Impact.
Yeah.
Impact.
Blockchain for good.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'll just say B4G.
Build.
Build.
Altruism.
Yeah.
Decentralized.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Future.
Going through those first words, huh?
I think
Or did that make it?
community is there, but we can go with communities.
No, that's. I mean, I don't.
Well, I think there's communities, like communities around causes.
Right. Yeah, that's what I meant.
I'll even say that.
Support.
Oh god, yeah, I hate that one.
Support.
No hate yet.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's just confusing in our context.
Block turnship.
Block turn shit.
Oh.
Reward.
Reward.
Goblet.
Roll.
Reward is interesting.
Did I hear goal?
Rolls, goals, and
Rolls.
souls.
You said it.
Roll.
You heard it.
I don't remember.
Giveth bridge.
Bridge.
Grant ops.
Yeah.
Any other names? We got like, I think we got like 60 more seconds of naming.
Experiment. Social coding.
I'm so sorry.
DApp core.
I'll just say a core.
And how
'Cause there's a
about
few
project?
cores. Project.
So DApp, donation application, donation.
Maybe this is too meta, but meetings.
Meetings.
Should we just call them metas?
Metas.
Encounters.
Encounters.
Casual.
Casual encounters.
Governance. I don't know if it's
Yeah, governance.
I kind of just said gov,
To
but
take
we can.
bureaucracy out of our goals.
I can put it out there
Right
twice.
on the things
It
that our
means
system
something else.
has throw bureaucracy. We actually had bureaucracy as a goal.
Yeah. Well,
Anything else? Last call.
random.
Random. Okay. Okay. That was the last call. Okay, so now we're just gonna go one by one, and if there's love, I want to hear woo. You know, right?
Can we snap or something?
You like snapping? I'm down for
Yeah.
suggestions.
What
from
if
the
there
audience.
is no love?
Then it's gonna be
I
quiet.
prefer to.
So there's only
quiet.
interesting.
There's
So it's
no,
kind
there's no booing.
No booing yet.
No.
Do you guys want to do booing and love?
No
at the same
support
time?
or no
No,
support.
no,
It's
no.
conviction voting for the binary choice first.
If we're
Do it
judging
one
by
and the
noise,
other.
it has
Let's
to be
make the-
noise also.
Can we hum?
Yeah,
Do you guys
exactly.
familiar with humming?
numbers?
So everybody hums.
Humming? Okay. Okay, so if we love it, we'll hum. Okay, give it DAC.
How,
Give it DApp. So I'm
sounds
gonna
like we're
start
very
scoring
unsure. Does the humming mean you're unsure? Does
That was
How
me.
many you like
Is
it?
that
It depends how loud you hum. It depends
Out
how
of
loud
what?
you hum.
Okay. Give it Galaxy. Give it Community. Unicorns? Actually, that was a little less. Unicorns?
Wow, so many words.
Unicorn DAC.
I don't like the DC part, but
Give it multisig. Communities around causes. Support. Oh.
It should be cause
For some instances, right? Like
Yeah.
tech support, great.
like we said.
Oh yeah, that's
thinking.
true.
Block turnship. Reward. GovLab.
Let's just clap, man. Or let's mix it up a little, like for a different column, different sound.
Roll. Bridge. Wow, okay. We gotta stay with the same sound. I can't score otherwise.
I mean,
Grand Ops. DAC. Campaign.
Wait, what about Dow, babe? Okay.
Get to it.
Campaign?
Sounds like we're all very unsure about stuff.
Milestones?
Then you have another marker that's fresh right below you.
Sorry, milestones? Wow, that's actually kind of loud.
I think they're important, they just need to be in the right
Givers?
spot.
Makers? Campaign managers? Maybe I'll just start pointing. Maybe a little faster.
the pitch.
I think we
Wait,
need to
what
hear
is
the word.
this?
Okay,
Yeah.
delegates.
What is it for?
Delegates are the people who manage DACs.
Okay.
Man,
Delegates, the people who manage DACs. Reviewers. So this is for campaign and milestone.
yeah.
We'll just leave it at that. Community meeting. It's pretty good. Comms. It's like these are the circles. Communication circle. Gov circle. DApp circle. Social coding. Altruism. Wow, okay, nice. Decentralized. Future.
Future.
In what context?
Just us using little words, right?
Building
Yeah.
the future,
Like, I mean, for
yeah.
future, decentralized altruism, these are more, they
Building
don't have like,
future.
Kind of want to be building it now.
Yeah, exactly.
When you hear the
Right
word.
now.
holacracy. Facilitator. Meetings. Governance.
I want decision making up there too.
Random. Too late.
I don't know.
Just kidding. It's not too late. Random.
I don't know what this context is.
Well, we
Well,
use
we
random
have a
in
channel.
the channel. Whatever.
Oh.
DAO. What's it?
Oh.
Lead. Oh, okay. No. Experiment. Some of these are pretty tough. I'm sorry, guys. Core. Project. I don't even know where we use project, but that got a good score. Circles. Oh wow. Donate. Propose. Proposal. Decision maker.
Decision making, right?
Mark complete. Wow.
Thanks.
Accept. Propose.
Again.
We have that already.
We have proposed.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that sounded the same. Contributor. Approve. Reject. Outreach. Impact.
That's not a number.
Blockchain for good. Build.
What is that?
14.
It's a Schmifty. Yeah.
Of course.
Schmifty.
Okay, so ones that really suck here. Okay, so now for how much do we need to replace mark complete? Do you guys want to change it up from humming?
Yeah.
But I feel like booing is gonna get really brutal if
Yeah.
we go through the
Do you
whole
think
list.
we should start writing what we love over on this board before erasing
can-
anything off of
I
that
can.
one?
You want to be a scribe?
Yeah.
I'm not going to erase scores, I just use a different color. But, okay, so what I'm seeing here is that we need to replace Giveth DAC.
Wait, what are we writing? Ones we love?
I guess, okay,
I thought that's what I heard you
I don't
say.
think we need to write the ones we love.
Okay.
I think we need to focus on the ones we need to replace.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go.
And maybe we don't
the
need
ones
to.
we hate.
Well,
So,
now that we have this, are there any objections to any of these ones that have like 15 or higher? That someone's like, that's bad. So we got like Giveth Galaxy is not up for question. Giveth Community is not up for question. Giveth Multisig is not up for questions. Communities around causes.
To just shout out. So the
Yeah, shout
Galaxy is for. I'm really thinking of like, I don't know. I would like to put the comments somewhere in there. The Galaxy is a very. I like the Galaxy concept, but to me it's just a very far-reaching thing that's very nebulous. And so that could
So
be
wait,
something
what
It's
I'm-
that.
definitely not a
hearing
word
is-
that
So
you hear it and you
Kai
know what
wants
it
to
is.
put Galaxy on the list of to be
Better defined, but not to be removed. Like,
If you
because
find
you
something
like the
better,
concept
why
of
not?
Galaxy.
I like the comments better.
The commons better, but well,
Oh yeah, I mean, so give us
is
Galaxy
Giveth,
comments.
is DApp node gonna be under the Giveth Commons?
Well, kinda, yeah. No?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe, but either way, like I don't know.
All right.
Aren't you asking for people to put the objections on the list of to be debated?
What I'm asking for is confirmation that the ones that have high scores are not going, don't need to be readdressed.
I would like to address the
So-
Galaxy if we have time.
Okay,
again.
so we will
Yeah,
move Galaxy down.
I'm ready to shut that one out.
Altruism, I think, is one that needs to be discussed.
Yeah, for me
Altruism.
too. Yeah.
Okay, making that a 10. I'm just downgrading anything else. So let's see. Multi-sig, communities around causes, givers.
I'm not.
The ones that you're
huge
naming
on-
right now, are these
it's
ones
kinda-
that we're just not gonna debate anymore?
Yep, these are ones that we're just taking off the list. Meetings, facilitator, governance.
Slow down.
I'm
Facilitator.
just waiting for objections. Project, impact, reject.
With
Contributor.
impact, it's just a very loaded word. So be careful, but we don't need to debate. Why do we use impact?
It's
We
an
don't.
overused word.
I would like
sort
to
of.
It's
say
an
that the word
overused word,
donate
but
needs
we're-
to go on the better defined list.
I think there's another
I don't
word.
know. So we have
We could
altruism,
definitely
donate,
define
and
it
charity.
Circles.
Circles I'm good with.
Okay.
Sorry. I could have just stayed silent.
Proposal, contributor, reject. Okay, so all those are making it. So we don't have to worry about them anymore. So that's cool. Now, ones that we really need to rethink. And this is Giveth DAC for sure. Do we need to rethink the Giveth DApp?
I like it because everyone knows what a DApp is who's in this space, and then it's like, okay, you're Giveth, this is the Giveth DApp.
I'm a fan of donation application too. I think it's kind of cool. It's nice
I
little
wouldn't
play.
mind seeing donation in there. I think it makes it a very clear use case because Giveth
Yeah.
DApp could be. I mean, Giveth represents a lot of things, but donation app is very clear.
Yeah.
That's a good. Yeah, I like
So we
that.
just need to write it out more.
It's
But the
yeah, it
donation
might
app,
never write it out.
overused DApp or I don't know.
I think like it's immediately clear to consumers what a DApp is, but a DApp is not immediately apparent. So the donation extension on it kind of co-ops the word DApp as well, which is nice.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So
So
let's-
give it donation
The
application.
new standard could be saying Giveth donation app,
Yeah.
and then everyone will pretty much get it.
Yeah, for sure.
I just wanted like to clear the because so Giveth the main core thing will not be the DApp probably, so it cannot be only like Giveth.
Well, so
Something shorter.
This was a challenge. I'm happy to sit on this for a second because this has always been a challenge for me. Like I really like what Ethereum did with Ether, and not what Bitcoin did with Bitcoin. Right? You have Bitcoins, and you have the Bitcoin network, and we have the Giveth DApp and Giveth Galaxy, right? And so in a lot of ways,
Give it Ethereum.
Give Ethereum.
Yeah.
But in the end, I feel like
Give
we're
it there.
there, and I like the Give It donation application. Okay,
Yeah.
so we can just kind of throw that in there. Donation. Give It donation app. Okay, Give It Galaxy. So this just needs further clarification, but do we want to get rid of it?
If we're still compiling the list, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you can come up with a word that is more clear, then there's no reason to hold on to the less clear one. But it's a tough.
Like the blockchain for good. Not the blockchain for good. What's the? Oh yeah, we are building the future of giving.
Do we need to talk about unicorns?
The
Yeah,
I'm not
I'm not a fan
unicorn
of that.
fan.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of it.
Wow. Okay.
Just says VCs to me, like.
You got such good results, but okay, so put unicorns on there. Unicorn DC, obviously. Then Giveth multisig is fine. Support. This already has a GitHub issue, so that's kind of obvious. Because we have a support button at the top, but it's like for GitHub, not for donating. So block turn ship. I don't know that we need to spend time on that unless we do one again.
I don't think so.
It's gone.
Reward. I think of reward DAO.
It's kind of
Right.
an internal thing though, so as long as we understand it.
Well, reward DAO is a contributor thing. Like,
Yeah, it's
do
not totally interesting.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Right, and I was just thinking of it,
Oh,
that
right,
it
right.
blends also with gratitude,
It's
like we're
our-
rewarding people, but ultimately we're saying thank you, and it's gifting. So I just was curious to see how people feel about when they hear the reward DAO. Does that feel like it's what it is, or should we be looking at shifting it more to something?
So we'll definitely. It sounds like this makes the list.
I have a really uncomfortable relationship with that, or at least started with reward DAO rather uncomfortable because extrinsic motivations and all that stuff. I just don't.
It's on the
so.
list. We're powering forward.
Yeah.
GovLab. I don't know. Do we need to talk about renaming GovLab? I don't think so. Roles. Do we need to talk about changing the name role? I don't think so either. DAC. Wow, that's definitely on the list.
Because
Okay.
everyone's saying DAO now, it's kind of like.
Sorry, I started
Neo.
putting,
Can we-
I just started,
can we just
no,
do-
because
Yeah,
I think what we do is we brainstorm up there words for it, and we come up with a new word for it that goes there.
Okay, I'm not sure that we'll get to that point, but let's power through. DAC is definitely on the list. Campaign. Do we like?
I don't like that.
Yeah, you don't like
It
campaign.
sounds very military in its.
Yeah, it does sound political.
It either sounds military or marketing,
Yeah.
and it's a necessary word, but we could
Yeah.
find something better, maybe perhaps to evolve the future.
Agree.
Milestones. I hate
I like
milestones.
The thing is, like,
I hate
these should
milestones.
all go together or not there because it's like a DAC campaign milestone is the system. So
People have made the point in the past that the milestone implies that it's like a certain structure of
So doesn't the smart contract not actually even use the word campaign? It's project.
Yeah,
So
Maybe like
we
checkpoint.
have a
but
false-
that's campaign. We're not trying to debate the names
Yeah.
here. We're just trying to say if we need it
I
on
think
the
we
list.
need to discuss it.
Milestones for
I think
sure.
milestones. yeah.
Givers. Do we need to discuss who didn't like givers?
I was the one who I'm not like a huge I like the resonance with giver, but at the same time to be like I'm a giver. It sounds so like
Yeah.
smarmy, you know.
Smarmy.
Instead of just donors, right?
Probably just call them
Yeah.
smarms.
Smarms.
So
or something
Smarmy.
else like that you know,
It's so
depending on the
weird.
kind of project you could be collaborating like
Yeah, we
comment
can
section,
debate it.
Patron
collaborating
ship, I
in
guess.
I was gonna
creation.
say
So-
that would be.
let's
So-
put givers on the list and makers for sure.
yeah, that's another
I
one.
always like the idea of just saying everyone's a giver, but
Me too.
makers.
And everyone's a maker, so.
Yeah. Campaign managers? Does that
If
need
we're
to go on
changing
there?
campaign, we gotta change
Yeah.
campaign
So
manager.
what about the idea of managers for the milestone manager? There's really just campaign managers. The only place we actively use.
I
I
think
think
the
with
only thing that gets
different-
confusing for me, sorry, is
Yeah.
is like reviewer, manager. I'm like, so there's clearly like a bureaucracy here, but if I'm new to this, I can't tell who's what and who I have to go to for what.
Yeah. So campaign manager, is the manager word bad too?
Manager,
Yeah,
I think
I'd
we can
drop
get
it if possible.
Okay.
could be
It's
bad.
on the list. Delegates for DACs.
I think
That-
fine.
That's fine, yeah.
I mean, I like it, but I think many people have problems with the concept.
I'm not really hearing anyone say
What
they
is
don't like it.
delegated?
So a DAC, so a campaign has a campaign manager, a DAC has a delegate, and the delegate for our use case right now is just a person who can receive donations and then delegate them to some
Okay.
other spot. The
It's like a
goal-
signing.
yeah, like hey, I want to help puppies, send money to me, and I'll find where to send the money to help puppies, and then they'll send to
It's
another
just
campaign.
redirecting the
Or
So
to a
it's
milestone.
basically
So-
somebody you're delegating authority to make decisions around how the funds are used.
I think
too.
the word
And then you
delegating
get to veto.
Mhm.
I don't know.
is complicated.
I don't know if
Fine.
delegate, the word just puts that image in my head. Like,
Or they
It's
delegate.
complex, right?
yeah.
It's a little complex.
Delegator. I would think more.
Delegator.
Da-
Okay,
da-
fine,
da- da-
delegates makes the
Arnold
list.
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. Community. Do we really?
I like.
How can we go away from that?
I
community,
like
yeah.
it.
Okay. Then circle names, the only one that was challenged at all
shoot.
really was comms.
Wait,
I
sorry,
think it's
did I miss
logical to have
something?
a
Nope.
comms.
You're good. What?
I think it's the logical, like it comms describes what it
Yeah,
does.
I don't know why that got 14.
Okay, because I'm not a perfect judge. Altruism?
Can I just
I
ask?
think that has implications to effective altruism as a movement. So if we follow that, then yeah, I think it's a word we can use, and if we don't, then it's a word we should avoid. So it's there. It's like it implies like being involved with other communities around.
Like,
Wait,
we,
so
we can
I'm
avoid
hearing
tasks.
yes from you.
Altruism is such a previous word to effective altruism. Effective altruism is such a altruism is like
Well, altruism's kind of a blank anything then, I guess. I just don't like the word personally. In
We
those
cannot
senses,
use
I think.
that.
What were you gonna say, Jeff?
I don't think we can get away from altruism personally. I don't think we should slather it everywhere, but I think it's, you know, if we keep it in the decentralized altruistic, I think that's kind of the big angle of Giveth, but we don't have to use it often. I was going to ask about social coding. Now, my initial visualization when I heard about social coding was like a meetup where like it's a social event where you code. I didn't really understand that it was like community coding, like people coming together and forming like random various dev teams working on different things. I didn't get that first off from social coding. Of course, when it was explained to me, I get it, but I'm just curious if anyone else, if we like the term social coding, cool. I just didn't get that.
It took me some time to figure it out too.
I totally agree with Jeff too.
So social coding should make it to the list.
I have the opposite
Social coding,
perception.
yeah.
You
When
like
I hear
social
about
coding?
it, I imagine what it is actually.
Like coding, like with people.
Yeah.
I
So
thought about
are we
that.
debating it right now,
Nope,
or are we
put it
putting
on
it
the
on the
list.
list?
I wanted to. I still don't like altruism per se because I
Okay.
feel like the tools we're building could be used for altruism or could be used for direct community-driven action. And to me, those are two different things. Like altruism kind of centers the donor or the investor
Yeah.
or whatever. And yeah, to me, there could be things that are more driven by other agents of change.
Is research altruism?
Research.
Depends.
I guess it,
It
depends
depends, but
on,
usually-
like, altruism has the moralization line built into it.
Yeah.
And that's always going to be one side or the other, dependent on, like, perspective, so.
What if we use the word altruism saying that we are trying to program in incentives so that altruism isn't needed to bridge that gap? Because today we depend on altruism for donations.
That's kind of
and
the point,
altruism for-
yeah.
We are trying to make altruism obsolete by not requiring people to be selfless to achieve these community goals. Everyone can look out
Automatic
for
I,
themselves.
I relate way more to humanism than altruism.
It's a bit like trustless, right? It's altruism
as well.
less.
Humanism.
Yeah, the point is to,
I like
without
that,
someone
from
being like, oh,
altruism to
well,
humanism.
fuck me, I have goodwill.
Okay, we're moving on. Decentralized. Decentralized?
Woohoo!
Yeah, people like decentralized. Do we need to really discuss?
I
Okay.
don't think it needs to be.
Future. Danny had this thing like, I like now, not future.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I kind
wanna go
of
future.
agree with that.
What about building the future of giving now?
I like it. I like it better.
We kind of have like a now. You know, that's really on here. Does anybody? What do you?
Future now.
Yeah, because you know we kind of have a now brand. I
Now,
feel like,
in capital markets.
because we have scaling now, we have governance now, we have open source block explorers now, which converted into decentralized data now, and we
Future
have, like,
now.
The future now.
Future now.
Maybe we'll get there for taglines. Do people like the word now though?
Yeah,
I do.
Like it.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
Ah.
Okay,
It
good.
runs
I
like
have
DAO.
two sides to it. I like the presence of it, but it also implies a rushness to things, which is not necessarily a good thing at all times.
Yeah, the more times we say it, I think about Veruca Salt.
Yeah, no.
I want to know, Daddy.
Okay, put future up there.
Okay.
Circles that got good reviews. Donate. Someone didn't like donate.
I think that could be changed to give if it's a button on the back.
I just want to see where donate has the word that associates what I hear you say all the time about once you donate, you get nothing back.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I feel like if there's places where we can use give or participate or collaborate or exchange,
participate.
Okay.
there's just other ways to use it. So I'd like to see it discussed.
Process note, we're making a list here and we're not capturing any of the ideas that people are having about the words on the list.
Yeah, because
so
that's not the point. So if you're having ideas, you're wasting your time. That's what I would
exactly.
say.
So like
Or
my
ideas.
ideas in this session are a waste of time because they're not being captured.
Yeah.
So donate is something what
Donate.
I'd like discussed.
Proposal. These are kind of high.
I like 'em.
I like them, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Decision maker. Making. Is that
I think
do we use it anywhere?
I'm trying to think.
I haven't seen it
I
yet.
don't
when we
Mainly
describe
just about our
governance.
internal stuff.
We were thinking about using it for conviction voting. For there's like change makers and decision makers is like a role. So
I find it useful.
I don't think that is there any opposition to it? It seems like
I don't
it's a
have
term
any
that we
opposition.
like. So mark complete was definitely has to go up there.
Yeah,
Because it's sort of like.
Yeah.
ambiguous.
Yeah. Accept. So this is always the challenge for me is the accept and approve. Because it's like who can even say what accept is used for?
Except completion.
Except milestone is a campaign.
Oh,
Like
approve
you're-
completion.
Approve completion, accept milestone is a campaign manager, right?
Wow, what a test.
So they're really different. Accept is just to say yes, that milestone is valid
This
and we want
proposed milestone,
and it can be proposed
I
and
accept
people
it
can
to my
fund it.
campaign.
That is.
So
I don't think we need approve and accept. I think we should choose one.
yeah, I
But-
agree.
Like accept will be like accepting as well, like accepting something.
So let's
Okay,
put
we're almost there
let's
with
put
the list.
accept. Let's put
Yeah.
accept and approve on the list.
Although accept reject are kind of a nice pair. You know,
Yeah.
it's like if you're getting
Well,
rid of accept,
I
it's,
think we just gotta get rid of one of them because the A just
Right.
makes people
Yeah.
forget that they're different.
yeah.
Okay, but then propose I think
I
can
was
stay
done.
right.
Yeah, it was already up there.
Approve, reject. Liz happy. Outreach.
I mean, everyone knows what outreach is. I think.
I don't.
No, I had to look
Does
it up.
anyone hate outreach?
Okay.
Where do we use it?
Just the channel, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Impact.
Wait, so outreach is not on here.
Not on the list. Impact.
I think we can come up like better maybe.
I like the term, so long as it's used.
We rarely use it.
To me, it's
I mean,
it's
there's
a
this
cliche,
whole
but-
world of impact investing where actually the common stack might come into play, but for Giveth itself, there is no. There is no
Blockchain
impact.
for good.
Blockchain for good. Does anyone hate?
I have a
Well,
slight
because to
problem
me,
with
impact
blockchain
investing
forget.
is like.
Oh yeah.
Only because I feel like it focuses so much on the technology and not the bigger impact that you're trying to achieve. And I think over time,
Okay,
we'll move
ideas
away
or
from- sorry.
list?
So
I
you-
think it should be on the list.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
it should be on the
Oh,
list.
this is B for G.
Blockchain for good.
I
I'm
don't
not-
like the moralization
I'm not
and it's overly focused on the tech.
Okay.
I think it should be on
And
the list.
build. Does build need to be on the list?
I don't
Positive
think build
word.
needs to be on the
It
list.
doesn't ring.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay, we have a list now.
Okay, we have a list.
Griff, you just missed bridge and grant ops on the
Oh,
first
thank
Oh,
few.
yeah.
Bridge, grant ops, bridge.
Did I write those?
Should we rename our bridge?
I think it's just that we don't like the bridge. It's
I-
not a
I-
problem.
Would go on there. I mean, but so bridge is very basic and it's also too general. We only use maybe one because we're but what is it so?
Yeah, we
Should
can
have,
come
you
up
could
with
use a
something.
descriptor, maybe.
It's
we can put it up.
bridge is a tough one for me. I mean,
Are
we
we
can put it on
putting
the
it on the
list. We
list?
can put it on the list, but I'm gonna have a challenge with it because it's almost a technical term at this point.
Yeah.
No, it is.
No, I suggest,
Bridge.
personally, grant ops, I find it confusing. I don't
Grant
know.
ops.
Yeah.
Okay. And this one's kind of Parker's campaign name, so it's kind of out of our scope.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
okay, so let's go through here and maybe I'll just prioritize ones that because what's the time right now?
120.
1:20. So we don't have much time because what's after this? Governance systems?
Where's?
There is no Chris.
Oh,
So
so I guess we get the full slot for naming.
okay. So ones that I want to prioritize, I really want to prioritize DAC. Where's DAC? Do we want to get rid of the term DAC? Especially with the context of, so more context.
Is it okay if
For-
I?
Yeah, you can erase that.
Should I take a
Can
picture
we
of it?
discuss
let
algorithms
It's on
for
video.
DAC?
No,
Oh,
we
but
can't.
we're discussing.
I'm gonna be on
Sorry,
video, yeah.
but I'm a dictator.
So,
So I want to give context that we have a DApp right now that has a full wiki and all these things. So we are not going to change any of these words right now because it's way too much work. However, we're building Giveth 2.0. So when we're building Giveth 2.0, we kind of have a license to rewrite our story. And you know, these are the big building blocks of the DApp, and since Giveth 2.0 is just focused on the DApp, I kind of want to gear us towards that direction. And I'm sorry, we can discuss altruism as part of DAC. It's not a bad move. But do we want to change the DAC to something?
yes, I would like to change the DAC to comments.
To comments?
Okay, so
So let's, while we're
Yeah.
ideating,
Okay.
the kind
and then when we come up with really like, really with solid ideas, we'll put them on the paper.
DAC. So any other ideas?
Direct to the boom. Commons, yeah.
And magically everything else falls into place campaign wise.
But it's not-
Anything else?
No?
So in context, like the DAG is just the whole
So-
thing.
The DAC is the unit of like community that is a group of people that manage funds but can't spend them directly. So in a DAC you can't create a milestone. Now, this is something that we might even want to change, personally. I mean, but at least with the current structure, you have a community who is held accountable to their donors in a DAC. And that's really the big piece, is when someone donates to a DAC, and then the DAC decides on something, the donor can veto. Yeah.
Can we be lunar here a little? Because I feel like in order to get any other ideas flowing, it's just blurt.
Sure.
Giveth 1.
Wait, but this isn't for the Giveth DAC.
Okay,
I'm not
group,
gonna write that.
group,
Giveth Core.
group, council,
Group council.
group. Those are two different things.
The group council.
Community.
Just community.
Community.
Like
All
decision
community.
maker, decision core.
So it's not delegates, but
No. Community. Commons community.
I think quorum can make the list.
How about accountable
Comes from
communities?
community anyway.
Accountable, is that what you said?
Commons unity.
Accountable community
Swarm.
describes it well. Actually, swarm.
Ah, that's a good word.
It's definitely a little overused in the space.
Yeah.
Lunar.
Anything else?
Circle,
Murmuring.
Collective,
The murmuring.
collective. Yeah.
collab.
Yeah, co-op, I guess. Is
Oh yeah.
Co-op, yeah, good shout.
Association, club.
Oof. Very exclusive, no?
And then
Sounds
you
like
missed collective
project.
left.
What?
Team.
Collective.
Project. Team. Anybody
Org.
else? Org?
Org. I'm just trying to like encompass as many entities as possible.
Entity.
What about,
Being
what
the
about
Protein
core,
community
like,
and the
corpse?
Aragon orgs. and-
Yeah. No, I like
Without the E, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, without the E.
Although
organism,
body is the
organisation.
thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's what is actually is body.
This is a buzzword, but community of interest.
Is that a buzzword? I didn't even know.
Well, yeah, well, and
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of a known term,
Yeah,
yeah.
COI.
I like the term organism because it directs towards a more naturalistic approach. So there's like organizations and organisms, but like for all one kind of thing. I quite like that. Rambling.
Commons organism.
Okay.
Giveth organism, you know.
Is this
implies
enough
swarming.
brainstorming on DAC?
Maybe central?
What were you gonna say?
The other one is community of practice.
Hub.
Okay, there's a lot of cool names up there.
Yeah.
What are your guys' favorites?
We can, how much can we pick?
Collective.
I love collective.
I like accountable.
I like core.
We got collective, accountable community.
Mm-hmm.
Who else?
Commons.
I like.
Commons, yeah.
I'm a fan of all org derivatives.
All org derivatives.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like organism.
I like org, yeah.
So can we define the scope of the DAC a little bit, just so we don't choose something? I want to make sure that Giveth Galaxy is one thing, and Giveth, for example, Swarm might sound like, you know.
Sounds more galactic.
It's
So-
not about
Yeah.
Giveth. This is
It's not
about
about
the
Giveth.
main, like, what should the head category of all the people that go on the DApp, what should that?
So if you
Govern
have a
the
cause
people.
and you
Yeah,
want to
govern the
form a
people.
community around it, what do you feel comfortable wearing as a badge?
Yeah, so like if someone wants to come and help make the puppies community like funding vehicle on Giveth, then they would call themselves the Puppy Commons, or the Puppy Organism, or the Puppy Corps, or the Puppy Collective, or the Puppy, you know.
Puppy swarm sounds.
Swarms are adorable.
I like the
The puppy accountable community.
I I just wanted to say, like, maybe the thing is that, like, the context is not that important. The most important thing is that the people remember it and they stick with it. I mean, if it's a complex word, they might not remember it. But if it's a short word and it's like, okay, and I know that means that, so they relate it and they just remember it, it's more important.
That's a good
I like
point.
co-op.
Okay, so let's do
Okay.
votes, number 1 and 2. You're first and second?
I need some time to think about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
anyone got a first and second?
I have 3. I'm sorry. I want to see council, co-op, and collective go forward.
Do you want me to spreadsheet these?
Council, no, it's okay. Council, well, which is your favorite?
Right now, I'm gonna say council. Just
Council?
we're gonna stick, and then collective and co-op.
Anybody else got top 3?
I got
I have 3.
Yeah.
Commons, council, organism.
Commons, council, organism.
Or
Well, do we want to stay with org? Do we want to stay like, I guess,
I think they're
Oh.
different.
okay, yeah.
Organism and organization.
Yeah, also have like commons as the
But
first
yeah,
and
I
then
guess
org.
org works for like
Commons.
the organic
Or
mesh nets of
organism
us,
or
and
organization?
Org,
organisation
just org.
works for the Aragon.
Just org.
Just org.
And what's your third?
So
No,
maybe all
third.
3 of those.
No third.
So if we take
No.
org, then
You want to
can
just throw it back to commons?
The thing is, yeah, all those things
you got
mean
6
different
points.
things. Yeah,
You got 6 points to allocate.
I mean, I guess community, yeah. Oh, and now collective. Oh, that's there.
There you go. I like that.
Who else?
Bring
Yeah?
those points.
my first one is core.
Which core?
The first core.
That one?
No, the
No.
core.
CORE.
I just want to say that some of these are making an assumption about the community structure and
Yeah.
some
Yeah, for
are
sure.
not. So it's like something like accounts is way more fixed to whatever it could be than a commons.
Yeah.
For a collective.
A collective is also very like the swarm material.
Council sounds kind of high.
But that's also needs
Yeah.
sounds like in a collective there's for sure no top down, but in a actually the way Giveth is working.
Yeah.
Who else? Yeah.
I'd
Centralized
say
on the review.
collective,
Management.
community.
Accountable community or just community?
Just community. And then that was a 2.
Oh yeah, thank you.
And then let's say no org. My only issue with the commons is when you speak of a commons, you usually speak of a common resource. And not that we don't have those, they're just very ephemeral. We have community as a community resource, you know, like, but that's not the way people are used to thinking about commons. So it might be a little bit confusing around what exactly we are managing as
So
a
in
commons.
a commons,
So-
they're related around a resource rather than an interest.
This is more a commons causes, right? Is our thing
Right.
at Giveth.
The
Word
other-
cause
yeah,
is
sorry.
totally missing from the list, by the way, which was the first one. Do
Danny.
you remember for DAC?
Danny. Danny.
I just want to piggyback on what Jeff said because my first instinct wants it to be commons, but when I think about the intention of the DAC, there's decision making that happens around how to use the resources, and that's why I lean towards council because the DAC is making decisions on how do we use those. So like I want commons, but I think that if we went with commons, it makes you think of what's the actual resource.
Does anyone else
Instead of the
wanna
governance.
vote?
I have 2 more. The second one will be central.
Central.
No, it's already.
Oh,
on
it's
the thing.
already there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, did I already give you your 3?
No, I'm missing the second and third.
You
Okay,
only
central.
marked his first.
And
And the last one will be a hub.
Hub is on there, it's nice.
So I think number 1 for me is group, and it's already
It's
there
right
under
there.
DAO on the
Under
first
DAO.
column.
On the left.
Second one is community, and
not accountable community or
the
just
third one will be accountable community. And the reason why just to put context, I agree with what Jeff or Adam said. I think we should use simple terms and simple language, so that's why I picked these words.
anybody else need to vote? Yeah.
Yeah, for my first, I want to do org. I'd actually like to put my second on that if I can do it.
Hell yeah.
And
Oh, that's just like that's a hack, man.
not community.
Oh,
How taken is the term de-org?
I mean, there's a small group that uses it. I would feel a little weird taking it.
Okay.
Isn't that
Some
people?
No, that's dgov. De-org is like
Decentralized.
some guys that hacked with
Is
us.
B-org
Let's
out
not
there?
tell them and make it
Or
over.
the board?
They would probably be cool with it. I wouldn't say that it's
Yeah,
taken. I
Corey
think they'd be
Dixon.
cool
I'm
with
sure
it.
they
Yeah,
did this
Corey.
org.
Corey and a bunch of it's kind of a loose group, very Givethy group.
Okay, I haven't voted yet.
Okay.
Collective.
Wow, in DCC they distributed common cause.
Did I
You
give
can vote all 6 to
Oh,
collective.
for Google Calendar.
No.
Oh, letter O dot.
Collective.
DCC.
DANI Bell BELL.
Me too.
This is not the Batman and Superman.
That's DC.
That's DC. This is
I'm not picking a third, I guess. Well, no, it's so hard.
So
You know what the interesting thing is also with the cause is not like people focused but problem focused or solution focused, and all these
Council.
basically are people focused.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Who else hasn't voted?
That's a good point.
I assign org, collective and community. Let me
Yeah, you can't
heaviest on
ECC.
org, collective, community second.
I actually want to know that.
Accountable community or community?
Just community.
This is the last one.
Accountable, sorry, and then,
Collective.
No more.
Have it for a year, then we
okay, and then, who else hasn't voted? Anybody? Okay, I haven't voted, so I actually like cause and collective and community. Just straight up. Okay, so let's see what our top 3 are here. Definitely.
Yeah, I'd actually change my collective to cause with you.
Is that a 1 or 2?
Yeah, I think it was
It
the
was a one.
last
It
one,
was a
so
one.
it'll be the 1 over 3.
Okay, so org. I think collective made it.
I think
Community.
community seems to have made it, and I think commons just with the 2 3s.
Commons.
Yeah, community has 7.
Is there anything else with like multiple votes really? Not really. Council I guess has 6.
Cause?
We'll just throw council.
Council has the same amount as commons.
Yeah. Does anyone want cause up there?
I kind of feel it's a good overarching category.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it gives it a little diversity.
Yeah.
That is total. That does not have high votes. It's just
It
your
was-
favorite choice.
It was also
No,
related to
I can also give it one of mine.
Oh God.
What?
Power of grip.
Well, no, but it's just
No,
it's different
it's
than the other
came
one.
to that. It's not the power of
It's
group.
fair.
It's my argument actually.
Yeah, it's kind of an argument that all of these are people focused and this one is not. You know, so
Yeah, but there's not more votes on it.
You can move my group one to cause too.
yeah. See, I think we have enough just to put it on the list. We're not going to decide on this list. It's just like
Alright, I'm
something that
actually
you
gonna
want.
lend support to that one.
To cause?
Because I like cause just cause.
Yeah,
I mean, can you imagine a different Giveth where we would not just like
Cause
leave
just
it
cause.
to like everybody to solve this, but be like, oh, like use those famous goals by the United Nations, and they are the causes, and then also possible, like totally different system, but
So
you know what I mean?
I don't think that we should actually solve this, but
Can
I'm
I
glad we
write
have
those
exercise.
6?
Yeah, we have some
next year?
candidates.
Yeah. Next one I want to tackle is milestone.
Man, this is like some
Oh
8-hour thing.
I mean, I don't think we're gonna get through anything after milestone. I
But
feel
it's
like
very
that's the
good,
end.
like
Can
for
I-
brainstorming. Then
Can I throw out the point that I think the milestone conversation is part of a larger conversation of how these projects are nested? So we have like
That's right.
cause, which is composed of multiple campaigns, which is broken down into multiple milestones or target deliverables. So like I think there's kind of a nested functionality that we need to look at how that whole flow goes.
oh,
And right now, I think we talk about milestones. Milestones are those base level things, but we're also using them because we only have one campaign. One campaign is the Giveth thing, so everything is a milestone. And when you say, that really confused me when I first came into Giveth, and everything was milestones and like do a milestone, and I was like, don't we like reach milestones? And are milestones like part of a larger project? Like, I thought maybe I would have the Jeff campaign, and Jeff sets milestones and targets to reach, and achieves them and gets paid. But the way we use it right now is a little bit confusing because it's kind of the catch-all for everything that goes through Giveth,
Yeah, absolutely. I think it comes with a lot of baggage,
right?
and it is, no matter how we twist it, like, the reason I'm skipping campaign is because there's this, like, DACs and campaigns are really almost on equal levels a little bit. The only thing that's different between a DAC and a campaign is that a campaign, the funds are locked. Like, at least on the technical level, DACs could have milestones. Or they could have, like, they could send money out somewhere. Campaigns can't. So, or sorry, campaigns, no one can veto. And on the technical side, that's the main difference between a DAC and a campaign. So, really, technically, if we pick one of these, maybe, you know, I'm leaving it open because this is part of a larger destruction
Yeah.
about how we nest things and how we structure things for Giveth 2.0. But milestone will always be the only way money can come out, because that's kind of a structure of the system, is that you have to say why money's coming out. A campaign just can't send money out.
So,
So-
it's an event essentially.
It's an event. It's a
specific event.
It's a
it's
payment.
it's a payment.
Payment
It's-
event.
We're saying this is happening.
Just so I can do some brainstorming.
Let me see if this. Actually, give me the black one because this red one. So milestone is like, this is what lets money come out of these orgs. Do we have any ideas on what we want to call milestones?
Yeah, like I said, like a transfer or a payment.
But we skipped campaign.
Yeah.
This isn't a
It's an
serious.
exchange in a way.
Yeah, and it's a needed one. Griff wants to keep it short, but this is like on a technical level and on a design level and on so many levels.
We
Has been
could just
discussed
call it-
over the years. It would be awesome if we could just get rid of campaign and have a better. Yeah.
This
Action
deliverable
items as
kind
well.
of attaches nicely to it as well. Is you kind of have proposals and then you have deliverables.
Yeah.
Deliverable.
Milestone will be like.
Maybe not necessarily.
So the
hard
thing is, it could
deliverable,
maybe also be one in the category of. So it could be always a payment in the category of job done, funds paid for something like reimbursement, and like so we could do it this way also.
Yeah, we could have like milestones is an option, and you can click milestone, but then you have to have multiple of them, right? Like, and that are nested into each other. Or you could have a job, and it's like, or salary basically, where you get recurring payments. Right? We have.
Gig.
Labor, material type things. Energy.
It's maybe a request for funding because it's always coming from the party that.
Yeah.
Or is it?
It is a
always?
request for resources.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
about just
yeah,
the
that's a nice
simplest?
one. Request for resources.
Request.
Like.
But specifically, yeah, for resources.
RFF.
I mean,
Wow.
this resources thing, like I always hear people kind of try to bring it in, but I'm very confused by it because we can't tokenize resources. So
It's all the ether
it's always money. Like, it would be great if it was resources one day, but we don't have
Meta
that tech yet.
exchange.
Yeah, exactly, but we don't have that tech yet.
I have three.
Transfer.
I have log, received, and
Sorry, log?
yeah, log, received, and checkpoint.
Before you
Just came
accept
up.
that address.
Wait, so we have transfer, exchange, task, job, deliverable, gig, request, action. So action, just without action item.
Yeah, or action. That's a good.
Project, task.
Task is
order.
up there.
Oh, sorry, bid.
Has one vote.
Are you reading off the source right now?
I'm reading off of our Lumio that we had about this.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Is proposal on there?
No. Anybody got anyone?
I was just gonna say request for payment rather than request for resources.
Request for ... and then you put the category in.
Yeah.
Request, just
But
request.
when you fill it out.
Can I just make a comment? Like the one with the request for payment, the only thing I noticed is it's where you put the emphasis. Is the emphasis on the process, which is like a payment process, or is the emphasis on the milestone, which is more of describing what you did? It's almost like we're trying to decide one or the other. And it's kind of both. Like you want to, in a way, you want to put the emphasis on what you did more than on
Yeah.
the payment. Once you describe what you do, then you're saying, hey, can you pay me for what I did?
Because the thing is, the solution. I think the solution would be like, because there are two different things. Something is in progress and something is actually done. So that will solve. That will be solved with a status. Like, it's something with status. It's pending, and then it's done, and it has different status, different kind of like states.
And I think we're talking on multiple different contextual levels, like there, and it depends how you look at it as well. You know, if we were to look at it in this nested structure, which is when I go on the Giveth DApp and I'm interested in helping a community, I want to click on that community. I want to see what campaigns they have active. I want to click into those campaigns and see what milestones they're trying to reach and what kind of funding levels they're at, and then I want to fund. I want to see it in that nested structure, and having that, like saying this is a proposal then doesn't make sense. For example, there is a proposal that gets this campaign and milestone into that community and approved and all that stuff, but then I'm not interacting with a proposal because I'm trying to fund. I mean, I guess it's a proposal for funding, but I think there's kind of like different layers to this, and we need to use multiple of these words, but if we're trying to decide like what to call this specifically,
Yeah,
For in that
I like milestone.
in that context, I like task. The way, I mean, when you put it that way. But
yeah, task is up there.
Yeah.
yeah,
Another
I'm
one
just saying
could
of the
be,
ones there. Yeah, that's
actions.
Action is up here.
Oh, okay.
Let's see, so different milestone types. There's kind of the milestone where you don't know who's going to do it, which is kind of like a bounty, right? There's the milestone where you don't have an amount that you want, right? You're just like hey, I did something,
Yeah.
give me money, I don't know how much. There's like expenses, you know, where there's a receipt, I paid money for this. There's salaries. Or like a contract agreement kind of thing. What other, how other, yeah?
for the use case of Giveth, like for a cause, like they could lay out their milestones. We want to save puppies. We're going to start a campaign of this, and our milestones are A, B, C.
So funding the campaign itself, we have that as an option where you can say, hey, if we put money here and if we achieve it, we'll get that money. So it's got kind of like a metrics.
Yep.
almost,
Fundraising.
or-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
It's
a
kind of a bounty as well.
Progress.
Progress.
Yeah.
How else do we use milestones? Like, what are the other milestone functions? There's like optional reviewers.
I mean, we use them as proposals sometimes, right? Like that putting money into that bucket is like putting your vote for that thing to happen. I don't know how to describe that.
Is that like a bounty where you don't know who's gonna do it?
Or if it's gonna be done.
So it's kind of like a proposal. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Hey, I'll do this if someone wants me to send money to that idea.
I will argue that anything that is not related to campaign metrics or progress should be another thing, not a milestone.
Yeah.
Because a milestone is, I mean, it's
think that's
necessary,
where it gets
but we
confusing.
need another layer to have proof. So I
Yeah.
think it's another section.
Yeah, basically milestone works for that one only. Right.
As Jeff is saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And I think we need to decide how much emphasis we want to put on using our tool for our own dog fooding purposes, which may take us away from focusing on clear messaging around how other people are going to use our tool. Because I think that really confused me, that we use our tool for salaries and expenses and all these other things, and then the language that was geared towards this is being used towards those things, and it's just took me a while to get why, and then then it's just kind of a legacy term that you always use. But I think if we focus milestone on this, and if we're on a comms angle too, like if we're external communication, we shouldn't be talking about these other things even really at all. That's just kind of our internal use of the system.
yeah.
what if to capture various meanings? What if we say item?
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing that's interesting to bring in the funding side of things like we've been kind of using this milestone terminology because this is where we wanted to go, was like we want transparent charities, or at least this was the Wojtek direction from the beginning. And I feel like we have more opportunities to receive funding from DAOs right now as a proposal framework. At least that's the Common Stack direction. So like, if the Common Stack works out, then we'll get somewhere between like 200K and 400K to rebuild the DApp. And if someone gives us 200K or 400K, then we should rebuild with their use case in mind, right? So I think some of these names really depend on who's paying us to build Giveth 2.0. And if it's a common stack, then that's one answer. If it's some random philanthropist that wants to, like Outlier, what was it? It was Outlier Ventures, but Abby's group.
Oh, Onward Labs.
Onward Labs. You know, then that's then we probably would use a different word.
Yeah. I just want to second what Jeff, I think we're kind of using milestone for so many things to kind of encapsulate it, and really it's more than one thing, but it's just a catch-all word right now. But one thing I would differ is, I actually think and again, I agree with what you said, Griff, let's wait to see who wants to fund it, but I could definitely see some of these other categories being used for external campaigns too, not just for us internally. Surely some of these other folks will have some of these same issues, like expenses, for example. I could definitely see other groups wanting expenses.
I think everyone's going to use expenses. I think a lot of people would be interested in bounties. You
Also
know,
salaries and
salaries are pretty fucking common.
What is this dollar sign one?
Like this is like, hey, I did this. Give me some unknown amount of money, right? That's an option we have.
Yeah, like a proof here,
Yeah.
and if someone wants to give you like something
This
out
is like-
out of that.
Soliciting.
I think that's actually
I look at it
interesting
like
as well.
the work you're going to do anyways, and it would be nice if somebody appreciated it and put value towards it.
Yeah.
I think that's actually a good one.
Is this where the project maybe comes in, or like instead of the campaign or the?
Well, we will always need a word that encompasses all of these things. Thanks, Lensky.
Probably lunch, right?
So we might want to consider. We might want to consider a word that cover at least having. I would like to propose that we vote on a word that tries to encompass all of these, so that we can have like a category for what we call milestones now,
Right.
and then we can have different divisions of.
On the 2.0.
Yeah, when people are like, oh, what kind of
Yeah, you do
milestone do you
fundraising,
want?
which is one very important
Yeah.
thing, or you do what actually
Is this
give,
a
or
salary?
you get money, or you give money.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
You want to like
Resource
give
exchange?
bounty, set a bounty on something.
Resource exchange.
Because you're
And
exchanging
or
your personal
you
resources
So
in
this-
fund it on
exchange
your
for
own.
stuff.
Yeah.
I can do it.
It's gonna be quiet right now, but.
Okay.
Actually very good.
Resource request
This is where it
at
comes
the end.
back to an exchange, because somebody's
Request
saying,
for
I did
management.
this, and
Request
that
for-
confirmation
request for-
triggers the execution of the
Error for
contract,
error.
which is the payment. The
Request for
exchange,
resources.
actualizing the exchange.
Feel it, right?
Do
It's a
we
make it
Oh,
take it.
do we feel like we have enough to vote?
I think so. I don't know.
Okay, so let's try to cut it down to 2 options instead of 3. Is that cool?
We're trying to
Yeah.
cut milestone down to 2 options.
Well, everybody votes.
2.
and they
Oh,
get 2
everybody
votes.
gets 2 choices.
Yeah, and if you have a third one, I'm ignoring it. So
Can we vote for milestone?
yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Does anyone want to vote?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
I'll put my first on item,
Take it as
my second on task.
I'm gonna go 2 on request. And 1 on action, I think.
I will put 2 on task and 1 on lock.
Look,
I go item. And project.
R4R.
Or
Request for
Resources.
resource.
no, I don't know the second one.
Holding out on the second one.
I'm going to double down on resource exchange, I think. I think that's what it is.
Resource exchange item?
Exchange, yeah. So you're exchanging resources for resources.
I would really like to get
At
into
the
the
end of the day.
semantics of the whole thing. Like if it's an item, it's very general, it's nice. So you create a new item if it's your thing, or otherwise you propose a new item and then
Exchange
a
item.
new item.
Because it's
And then
reciprocal.
so this is like
So it's
if
not a
we want to
transfer,
fundraise,
here
or
you
we
go.
want to put out a bounty.
It's a,
And that's the whole-
we've exchanged different
the only
things.
problem with item is how generic it is out of context.
It's broad.
Like,
It
as
is
we often
transaction.
say,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
do
the-
a milestone,
yes.
do an
A
item.
transaction,
Yeah,
and
do
by
an item.
short-term
Yes.
exchange.
An
and
item
longer
can
term
become a
exchange.
payout in the end, but in the beginning it's a proposal maybe, or
Maybe shorter term.
an action item, or a that's the thing.
I think action items kind of better, except it's 2 words and it just gets.
That's the thing,
why
like
I
maybe
voted for
item
I would
is
like to put 2
generalized,
on
but
request.
most
Action
action
item.
item specialized. Action item is good.
And
Because
one,
it may not be an action item, it may just be like, I need
Exchange.
$500 to pay rent
Exchange.
or something.
Mhm.
Which is
Resource
not really
exchange or
action, it's just an expense.
Wait a second, but if we're goal focused and we're like, oh, we have to save the world, we
Like
could
a
Oh,
assume
task.
something like would be a word we created,
between
like a tick,
action item and
you know,
milestone.
like you tick something off.
Put it up
Yeah.
there for
One more
milestone.
tick to
Is that like
Yeah.
milestone?
in our
It's not
end
yet.
of task list to save.
Yeah,
I like it.
I mean,
What about tick? Tick,
Uh,
like we make a tick.
Tick.
Yeah, it would be like a created
A check
word,
mark.
but if you imagine like, oh, the doomsday clock, like we have to do all the things, so like,
I mean, if Prince can do it, we can too.
oh, just a symbol.
For me, could you put up 2 in resource exchange and 1 in action item?
Action item technically isn't a thing yet.
It's over there.
Oh, it is?
it is, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'll go 2 action item and 1 milestone.
Oh yeah, bring it back. The oldie and a goodie. Did
I
you vote?
voted.
You vote? Did you vote?
I need my vote.
Who else hasn't voted?
Me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Nancy.
Milestone.
Can you see the board?
What about thing?
Thing?
Yeah, I'll give my second one.
I
thing.
would totally back that.
I love it. Here's
Do
my
a thing.
Do a thing.
Welcome to Giveth.
There's
Just
the
do your
Dow
thing.
and
Right, did you
eventually
do
you're
it?
always
Right,
doing
that's
the
it.
thing.
Done my thing.
We're all doing the thing.
Make a dig.
I kind of want to move my vote.
Thing, so we can sign the thing.
Yeah, fuck name. Oh, you're putting it in your. Oh, you're putting
Can
it
I
in
have
your-
one of my votes moved down there as well?
Okay.
But I do like it.
Do you want to move one of your
Yeah,
votes? in there?
yeah, either or. I
do a
think.
thing?
No, you
It's
gotta
an empty
pick.
shell, like
Let's
item, but
take
it's
the
more fun.
1 then.
You're voting
I think
for
the
thing,
2
okay.
then probably needs to move over to exchange.
Milestone.
Milestone is your number 1?
Yeah.
And what's easier?
My number 2 would be task.
Now everybody wants.
Look, do your bounty thing, your salary
Yeah,
thing.
do your salary. Is it a salary thing? Is it more?
I mean, at the end, the thing will be the
threatening
different stuff.
Task bookkeeping.
It's a
bounty thing, salary thing.
I like it.
I mean, it's perfect.
And then
That's it. You
I think the thing works.
Actually, a big fan.
Totally down with thing.
Yeah, okay.
So-
Do your thing. Sorry, that's not.
Done our thing.
Thing approved.
Oh yeah,
Approved
first
thing.
choice thing.
You're putting first and second on.
Or if
thing.
I think, yeah, I want to put, I want
No, I
to
put
put
second
my
on
votes
request.
also on thing.
Oh, nice.
I can't remember what my. Yeah, I did
Request
that.
thing.
I'm moving my one.
Wait,
to
what about thing request?
Yeah, one. Did you submit
Ref,
your
I
thing
would
request?
miss
And then
one of my
you
action
just,
items
like,
to thing as
do,
well.
like, you know, to your.
What is it, action item
I
number
had
1?
2 on there.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can take mine off exchange.
Mine as
thing.
well.
Yeah,
Mine as
Wow. Thing is like, what a dark horse. This is amazing. Just like sweeping.
Came out of nowhere.
Hooray for lunar thinking.
I suggest Shrifty.
Shrifty?
Swifty? A Swifty thing?
He's making a shrift in the group by throwing in Swifty. Will it be more Mimi
You
than
want to get
Swifty?
Swifty?
There's far more memeing in.
Okay, well, I think we have pretty clear winners here. Bing.
Oh man.
We're gonna have to fix all the things.
Call it whatever you want. I'll
thing-
do things.
The thing's broken.
Man,
Which thing? It used to be the milestone thing.
That give us
Now the thing.
The thing formerly known as milestone.
item, thing, resource exchange.
so hard. Like,
The Rex.
so you posted your thing the other day on the DApp?
Hey, did you
Did
post
you
your
already
thing?
posted your thing?
What thing?
Oh my god.
Your thing, man!
What do you mean, what thing?
It's gonna be a huge thing.
It's way too catchy.
Okay.
I didn't realize, like.
Whoa. Gotta leave milestone. What's funny is DAC didn't get any votes here.
No.
No. Okay, well, what time is it?
It's
think-
2 o'clock.
Okay, it's lunchtime.
Well, but we did some
Yeah, it
interesting
was-
progress.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot more names to question. Mark Complete was gonna be my next one.
8% of the list.
Yeah, 8%.
Not quite.
Not quite.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Wow!
I
Okay.
mean, the thing is great. It projects a kind of a lightheartedness of the organization, which could
Yeah.
be kind of fun, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the fun thing happening when you say thing and he doesn't know, and that is actually an advertisement, like verbal advertisement.
Did you do your thing on Giveth?
What
thing?
No,
Yeah,
that's
you gotta
gone.
make a thing.
There's a-
How do I make a thing? Well,
there's
you
a-
go to the Giveth DApp.
I wanna make a
You click
thing.
the thing button.
Give a thing.
Give a thing. Give a thing. Give a thing.
There's a task management software
Give a
called
thing.
Things, if I recall, for Mac. And they just call it Things.
Give a thing.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, it's a good name.
it's-
What did Mac call things?
It's somebody made a piece of software called Things, and it's like a task management software. So
Oh, I think
it's actually quite popular too, apparently.
it's catchy.
Your bounty thing. Your expense thing. Your salary thing.
There. It's right here.
Oh, I
I don't know if
saw
you've
it.
probably seen that one.
I think they have like. That's interesting.
Things is the award-winning personal task manager that helps you achieve your goals.
Award winning. I mean, that's catchy.
Everybody's happy. That's good.
I'm capping or cutting the string.